Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished medical doctor who has got a fascination and a tremendous depth of knowledge of the finance and fintech world, Dr. Daniel from Halifax, Canada. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Dr. Daniel is the founder of the Crypto Investing Program, and he's the owner of EMC Dental Incorporated. So, Daniel, my first question before we get into crypto is, how did you transition your background in dentistry to becoming a crypto investing trainer?
Well, that's a loaded question. I'll give you the very, very short version.
Yeah.
So I was in a fast track in dentistry. I was an overachiever in school. When I got into dentistry, I really enjoyed, dentistry itself, the school. But when I got out, I understood as a dentist, you could be a little bit good at a lot of things or really good at a few things. And I early on in my career decided to get really good at a few things. And I focused my dentistry career on complete and comprehensive dentistry, which is a really fancy way of saying the bigger cases. So it started off with a passion for aesthetics. I wanted to make smiles beautiful. However, when smiles weren't beautiful, usually there's an underlying functional condition. So as a dentist, I had to learn very quickly the functional aspect of dentistry, which most dentists unfortunately avoid. It's very complicated and it takes a lot of post-dental education to get an understanding, and even more so, it takes a lot of practice to get a grip and actually master it. So, in my 25 years of being in the industry, the first 10 to 12 years got me to a place where maybe in the top 1% of dentists in the world. And at that point, I decided, okay, I wanted to scale up. I built a really large office, 7,000 square feet with an education center and, multiple dentists and whatnot. And I focused the second half of my career onto dental education. I really had a focus for helping dentists learn very complicated dental procedures. So for instance, if somebody went to their dentist and their dentist looked at them and said, I don't know what to do with them, that's where I started. Okay. So my career, by the second half of it, I think years 15 to 20, as I transitioned out of clinical dentistry, I focused mostly on dental education, dental coaching. So that was really my passion, was helping others learn to do what I did. When COVID hit, unfortunately, a workaholic like myself was happy to have all the distractions of life disappear. And I buckled down and I said, this is fantastic. I'm going to get to do all the things I wanted to do that life was just not allowing me to. So I worked. I did multiple national webinars for across Canada for dentists. I wrote a book. I did an online course. I did so much in 2020. By the end of 2020, I burned out. I was done. I just couldn't do any more. I had a loss. I absolutely overworked myself for the year. And then in 2021, I did something I haven't done. I don't ever remember doing. I took some time off. And I've been working since I was, probably 4 or 5 years old. My dad had a convenience store and we lived in the apartment above the store. So we've been working from a very young age. And in 2021, I started my first time as a human being to disconnect from work and disconnect from being productive to enjoying some of the simplicities of life. That allowed me some space to meet my wife and to go, and have some wonderful personal growth as well. When I finished and we traveled the world. She was my girlfriend at the time. When I came back to North America and Canada, I was going to go back to my old life, but I had this time where I wasn't doing anything. And I had a best friend in Calgary for over 5 or 6 years who's bothering me. Get into crypto. He had done really well in crypto, not 5 or 6 figures. He did very well. And to me back then when I was working and as a dentist, it's this abstract, what a crypto. It's not even, I don't even know what it is. It meant nothing to me other than I met it with skepticism. So, I dipped my toes in because I was like, you know what? Why not? I've known him for since 1999 or the year 2000. I'm like,
Mm.
we talk all the time. I trust them.
Yeah.
So as I dipped my toes in, I started to learn and peeling behind the curtain. I fell in love with it. I was like, oh my God, it appealed to me. It
Mm.
appealed to a lot of my I have a math degree. I'm a numbers guy. I'm very logical. Even in dentistry, my dentistry, my beauty, my aesthetics in dentistry are based on symmetry. So I understood how things work in a very logical sense. And
Mm.
crypto, the actual investing in crypto made a tremendous amount of sense. Now, learning how to invest in crypto was not easy. It was
Mm.
counterintuitive. So that process
Amazing.
frustrated me. Yeah,
Fascinating.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, that's the transition. Let me stop there. So I
Fascinating.
got into it. I
So,
dipped my toes in. I
yeah.
fell in love.
So for
Haven't
for
looked
for the for
back.
the common person, Daniel, there is always a little bit of uncertainty and fear because of all the things that we hear and in the press about crypto. So let me ask you a very basic question. What is cryptocurrency and how does it work?
Okay, let me go two ways. Number one, there should be skepticism and there should be fear. The
Correct.
problem with crypto and the beauty of crypto, it's equal parts lucrative
Mm.
as it is dangerous.
Yeah.
Any industry that attracts that much money will attract a lot of bad people
Mm.
trying to do bad things in the thing. So what is cryptocurrency? So cryptocurrency is basically an alternative to fiat.
Mm.
Fiat is your
Yeah.
local currency. Cryptocurrency is a digital version offered as an alternative to local currency. And the reason it was ever offered or came up in the first place was this concept of centralization versus decentralization.
Mm.
And what that means is our banks are centralized. Our money, when we deposit into a bank, are controlled by an entity. Decentralization means it is not controlled by any person or by anyone.
Mm.
The technology behind decentralization is called a blockchain.
Mm.
And all a blockchain means is that all the transactions are public and are non-reversible and not controlled by anybody.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You would
absolutely.
like me to elaborate a
No,
little
no, no,
further in
no,
terms of,
no.
yeah,
We'll keep moving on.
keep
And
going. Yes.
based on all the courses that you run and the investments that you make, what are some common misconceptions about cryptocurrency?
Absolutely. So first of all, when people say, I invest in cryptocurrency or I make money in cryptocurrency, if you ask 10 people in cryptocurrency,
Hmm.
how they make money in crypto, you might get 50 different answers.
Hmm.
Okay. The most common misconception is that investing in cryptocurrency is crypto trading.
Hmm.
Is I'm going to buy this coin or token here and it's going to move up tomorrow and I'm
Hmm.
going to put a leverage trading on it and I'm going
Yeah,
to make money or I'm going to
yeah.
long it or I'm going to short it. So this concept of day trading in crypto is usually done with leverage, and most people think crypto investing is that. That
Hmm.
is only one option of crypto investing among many different options. And in my opinion, in
Hmm.
my experience, for the busy professional, for the entrepreneur, for the business owner, for just the busy person, even the busy mother or father, the
Hmm.
family person, that is not even close to the best way to invest in crypto.
Hmm.
I've discovered a
Yeah.
much better way of doing things. It's one of many, but this one in particular works perfectly for the busy person
Hmm.
and is very lucrative with a minimal amount of time invested.
Well said. Great response. And for a beginner, what are the first steps they should be doing if they want to make an investment?
Three things: educate, educate, and then educate.
Okay.
Do not do anything until you educate yourself. And I'm
Hmm.
not going to shill my program or promote my program, but I do offer free education, a 25-minute free training video to give people the basics of crypto for free so they understand even what they are doing with investing. I'm going to sidestep. Over 80% of the people I talk to have been robbed and
Hmm.
scammed in crypto because they refuse to educate themselves. They would
Hmm.
prefer to give someone their money to invest for them. And
Hmm.
once you give someone your money, it's gone. E- Every single person I've talked to that have given someone, and these scams, by the way, I know it sounds simple. Oh, how would you give your money to somebody you should know?
Yeah.
No, they
Hmm.
are elaborate. They are well done. They are highly professional. They know exactly what to say. They show you computer screens with your account. They show your account growing every day, and they have incredibly powerful ways of compelling you to invest more and to get more out of you. So educate yourself, understand what you're doing before you put one penny in.
Amazing. Well said. Well said. So tell me a little bit more about your crypto investing program. How does this program help to demystify the investment process for beginners?
Absolutely. Okay, so when I learned crypto, I did everything on my own. Before I did, see, as a dentist, I want to tell you a little bit of a story. As a dentist, when you want to learn something, it's not difficult. I want to learn how to do a crown. I go online. I say, who's teaching crowns? I pay them the money. I fly or take their online course. I go back to my clinic. I do a crown. Dentures, same thing. Root canal, same thing, is very simplified. I want to learn something. I pay someone, they teach me, I go back and do it. It's not that way in crypto. I could not find one human being to teach me. I would pay whatever it would cost. That's what I'm used to as a dentist. I took courses the first half of my career. I gave courses the other half of my career. So I'm used to finding the expert in the field, paying them, learning, and then doing. I couldn't find it in crypto. So after I went through the process, it inspired me. I got upset because I lost a lot. I got scammed. I got robbed. I lost my wallets. I made so many mistakes that could have been easily prevented. Easily prevented with just a short conversation, a little bit of instruction, a little bit of guidance, a little bit of mentorship would have saved me so much time, anguish, money, frustration, and nobody was doing it. So I decided to do it. So the program itself is designed specifically for people with very little knowledge to no knowledge in crypto, and for those that are already investing that don't know what they're doing. So I take them and I walk them through very simply, the most powerful, effective way of investing in crypto. I can, and I'm not sure, can I elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so when people talk about, okay, what is it you do? I go, it's called bull run investing. So if you imagine in the stock market, I imagine a lot of your listeners will be familiar with the stock market. So in the stock market, in North American stock market, because that's the one I'm familiar with, it's very, very simple. You have, big companies in the stock market that are represented by tickers. Tickers are the four letters that represent the company. For instance, Apple is AAPL. Tesla, TSLA, there's Microsoft, Google, Meta, Samsung, all these big companies. And they have their projects. Companies are listed by tickers on the stock exchange. If the stock market crashed tonight, tomorrow I could call you up and say, hey, listen, stock market crashed. Let's buy some stuff. You say, yes, Daniel, let's buy. We should buy. It crashed. I said, what is it you love? You go, well, I love Apple. I have an Apple phone. I drive a Tesla. I love Facebook. So okay, well, let's invest in Meta, which is Facebook. Let's buy Tesla. Let's buy Apple. We'll buy all the companies we believe in that we think are going to do well. And we'll buy them because their values are down. It's crashed. And after we buy them, we do nothing. We wait. And year after year after year, stock market recovers, right? And at some point, when they go back up to really high, we sell them. And the difference between where we bought them and where we sell them is our profit.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
This is exactly the concept of bull run investing, except in crypto, we have a little bit of a cheat, there's a cycle in crypto. See, crypto runs in a bear and a bull cycle. So right now, right, every 4 years, approximately, there's a bull cycle. And then it comes down into a bear and a lull. And about 4 years later, there's a bull. And this is the pattern. Now, there's some technical reasons I don't need to get into of why that happens. Forget why. Right now, we're still technically in a bear.
Okay. So you're expecting it to turn.
Okay, I'm going to hang on for, oh, yeah, you're frozen. So the values of a lot of great projects are depressed. Now, when you get into crypto, how we look at crypto is this like the same way we look at the stock market. I don't want people to worry about coins or tokens. All BTC, ETH, XRP, all these letters, and whether there's 3 letters, 4 letters, 7 letters in crypto, they are tickers that represent the project. That's all they have to know. These tickers represent the project. What we talk about is buying the right projects, and I curate the list. I've picked the absolute top projects in different narratives in crypto, the ones that are not the ones that did best last time, the ones that are going to do best in this upcoming bull, right? I tell them how to buy, where to buy it, when to buy it,
Mm.
when to sell it. I teach them everything in the 1 week. So they pick the best projects. And now that they're devalued, and when they buy them, all they do is store them and wait.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when the bull it comes, and the bull is different than stock market. The bull cycle is based on hype, and it doesn't do this. When the bull comes, they go exponentially up. So some of the people I've been working with last summer, they've experienced 10x returns, 20x returns, 50x returns, 80x returns. You cannot do that anywhere else. 80x, by the way, is if you put $1,000, 80x means it's $80,000. So they've experienced returns like this, and the bull run hasn't started yet. And that's the power of what I do. With the 1 week program, I've eliminated a tremendous amount of the excess distractions in crypto.
Mm.
So they don't have to learn about wallets. They don't
Mm.
have to learn about different networks. I've done it in such a way, I simplified it because this is not my first iteration. By the way, I started this for your listeners as crypto for dentists. It made no sense. Nobody knew what I was talking about. They thought it was a currency for dentists. I was teaching dentists, and then it evolved and evolved into different programs and went to a 4 week program. This is the most powerful version of all my crypto education is the 1 week program because it takes everything somebody needs to know. It teaches them in just 1 week, 2 sessions over 7 days, 2 weeks of full-time Discord, and allows them the confidence to do it on their own with less than 10 minutes a day. It's
Sure.
not a full-time job.
Sure.
Does
So I
that
want
make
to move
sense?
on, Daniel. Yeah, it does.
Yes.
But I want to move on.
Yes.
I've got time for two or three more
Yes.
questions.
Please.
You mentioned a few minutes back about how a lot of people get scammed. My
Yes.
question is, how can investors identify potential scams and try and keep their money safe, other than, of
Yes.
course, taking up your program?
Number one, don't give your money to anybody to invest.
Yeah.
That would be the top piece of advice. Number two, don't trust anybody you don't know or haven't verified.
Mm.
Don't trust. See, in crypto, you get into these Discord communities and Telegram communities, and they are riddled with what are called bad actors, right? I've actually put out a 3-part YouTube series
Mm.
covering the top 10 ways people get robbed the most. And I go into a lot of detail. They can find me there. I am Dr. Daniel, IAMDRDANIEL. And on my YouTube series, it tells you the most common ways people get robbed. But number one, don't give out your money. Number two, don't trust people. Those are the two main ways
Yeah.
for newbies, getting into crypto.
Thank you. Thank you. And do you really think it is important for investors to understand the technology behind crypto before they invest?
Not necessary. I don't understand the technology of the stock market before I invest, and I
Mm.
feel quite comfortable investing in Apple in the stock market. I liken the stock market investment to I liken investing in crypto the same as investing in the stock market.
Mm.
We pick great companies that are undervalued. We buy them and we wait till their value goes up when we sell them. And that's all
Mm.
I need to know about the stock market. And
Mm.
that's all you need to know in essence about crypto. It's good to
Mm.
get your background, but it's not necessary to invest.
Very interesting. You also spoke about blockchain when we started talking. What role does blockchain technology play in the value and the function of crypto?
Blockchain technology is what allows the decentralization of cryptocurrency.
Mm.
That's all people need to know. In other words, it's because of the blockchain that we can
Mm.
produce a very transparent, publicly accessed, non-controlled place of all of our funds. So, for
Mm.
instance, if I have funds and I
Mm.
gave you funds, okay, on the blockchain, it's all recorded and nobody can dispute it. In Canada, I have my funds in a bank. Did you
Mm.
guys know, and most people don't know this, a few years ago, the
Mm.
Canadian government froze the bank accounts of many Canadian citizens
Mhm.
because these citizens donated money to truckers who are on strike and they had nothing
Mm.
to do with it. And the
Right.
government froze their assets. So, in other
Mm.
words, the blockchain allows, the blockchain is this technology that allows cryptocurrency. And the
Mm.
reason it's so popular is because it's decentralized. Nobody can freeze it, nobody can
Mm.
hold your funds.
Mm. And I'd also like to get your perspective on long-term versus short-term investment strategy for crypto. What should be
Great.
one's approach?
So my approach, bull run investing, is and long term and short term is very much within context.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the context. So for instance, in crypto, long term and short term could be, short term could be a few minutes to a few hours to a few
Right.
days.
Mm-hmm.
Long term is for the bull run.
Mm-hmm.
Really, people don't invest past the bull run unless they're investing in Bitcoin, looking for generational wealth, and we're talking decades investments. And there's a couple other layer ones that could do really well and some real world asset stuff. So long term for me is the bull run. And the bull run, we're looking at 6 to maybe 9 months. And
Mm-hmm.
that to me is the extent of long term investing within crypto.
Very interesting. So, Daniel, I have time for two more questions.
Please.
My next question is, what are some essential tools and resources that you would recommend for crypto investors?
So I recommend they go on two websites,
Mm-hmm.
CoinGecko.com and
Mm-hmm.
CoinMarketCap.com. And
Mm-hmm.
those two websites will allow them to, if they actually scour the websites, and I actually put out some stuff to explain people how to use the websites. I put out a lot of free content.
Yeah.
But those two websites are very powerful to give people a little bit of background, a little bit of education. So those two are two very good sites for a starter to
Mm-hmm.
become familiar with them. I use them every day.
Given the amazing knowledge you have of crypto, what do you see as the future of cryptocurrency in the next few years?
I believe cryptocurrency is here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I believe cryptocurrency will see a slow and steady adoption
Mm-hmm.
over as time goes on. Just like the internet, just like smartphones, it's going to be a slow and steady adoption.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the future of cryptocurrency, I don't really think it's one direction. I think it will percolate and it will integrate
Mm-hmm.
slowly with our society. I don't think it'll be a band-aid being ripped off.
Yeah.
I think it is slow and steady, just like AI is going to be slowly and steady and has been integrated
Mm-hmm.
into our day-to-day. I think crypto is going to do the same thing. It's not going to be a huge revolution. It's going to be a slow and steady adoption over time. And I think in our future generations, cryptocurrency will be just as normal as using the internet and using our smartphones and using
Mm-hmm.
AI. It'll just be part of life. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to take some time because there's a lot of centralized, as you can imagine, banks and governments who want to control everything. They are fighting tooth and nail against a decentralized system because they
Mm-hmm.
can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
It puts
Great
that
response.
power in the hands of the people.
Great response. And on that note, Daniel, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking to me about your own amazing journey. I've not met too many people who are medical doctors and who have actually pivoted so brilliantly into the finance and fintech world, and even that at the cutting edge of finance and fintech. I think that's quite amazing. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
speaking to me at such length about so many different aspects of cryptocurrency, and of course your program, the crypto investing program. Thank you again for
Thank you.
speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you making the time to have me on your show.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.